The anime begins with the protagonist's team, Arashi Mikami, infiltrating the private property of a criminal. His group consists of a female sniper, a female bomber, a swordswoman, and his partner, although their powers go beyond the norm. When the entrance is opened for them, he manages to infiltrate the abandoned building on his motorcycle, quickly reaching the room of his target, the malignant tumor, Hideo Aranami. He lists Hideo's criminal acts, and how because of them, he has become a disease that must be eradicated. He is also classified as black, so there is no salvation for him. Despite that, he tells Hideo that if he wants to die like a human, he should use this, handing him a pistol to take his own life. The one next to him is Ryu, who asks Arashi why he is doing this, to which he replies that he wants to see human conscience. As expected, Hideo laughs and shoots him in the face, but the bullet bounces off Arashi's solid helmet. It turns out that was the only bullet in the gun, and seeing that there really is no salvation for him, Arashi finishes him off seconds later. Finishing the operation, they destroy the building with explosives. After that, they head to their secret base, where Arashi and his partner are the last to arrive. Everyone reports to Masamune Mochizuki, the president of the organization they belong to, the Black Label, and he always has his assistant by his side. Her name Ran Fiona. Their team is made up of Arashi Mikami, Makoto Kiba, Arashi's partner, Oriha Nashida, who is the bomber, Seo Hitsugi, the fighter and tank of the team, Miki Tsurugi, the shooter, and finally, Yuko Sajiri, the swordswoman. Masamune reminds everyone that Black Label is an organization of surgeons who remove evil from the city, eager to see them in action again. While Arashi is in the shower, he remembers playing with his best friend Ryu in his childhood, where they chose who was the hero and the villain. They both wanted to be the hero, so Ryu proposed that they both be, declaring that they would defeat all the bad guys together. Those memories don't make him very happy, and that's when Makoto approaches to ask him what he did in the operation, about giving the target a weapon. Arashi replies that he was looking for a conscience, causing her to get angry. Makoto reminds him that if they had a conscience, they wouldn't have been assigned a level, asking if he doesn't agree with Dr. Masamune's triage. Arashi replies that it's not that. He actually wanted to see if he himself had a conscience, in addition to obeying the triage and fulfilling the mission. She gets angry when she hears him, approaching him to tell him something, although she remains silent when she sees the scars on his body. In a change of scene, we are introduced to Kyoji Tobishiro, the son of the head of the Tobishiro clan. Goryu, who is a servant and kunoichi, informs him that Hideo Aranami is dead and that it appears to be the work of an unknown organization. Kyoji complains about it, but at least he knows they have Hideo's son to continue working for them. He gives Goryu the order to investigate that organization, because he can't let people do whatever they want in his city, saying that while groping her, she also informs him that the cargo ship they talked about left port as planned. Back with Arashi, he now attends classes like an ordinary person. At lunchtime, he talks alone with Makoto, although he realizes that his classmate Hinako Kaminato is watching them. When he approaches to say hello, he makes her nervous, clarifying that he was only talking to a friend. This makes her calm down since she has feelings for him, although she finds it a bit strange that he is friends with Makoto since she is in her third year. Then Hinako invites him to go home together, which Arashi accepts, since he wanted to eat something at her store anyway. When they get there, Arashi receives a message about a mission, and that the triage classification is black. When Hinako appears to show off her maid outfit, he had already left due to that emergency, which takes her by surprise. Now we are with Taizai Aranami, Hideo's son, accompanied by a partner of his named Jin Masaki. Taizai tortures the daughter of Mr. Fujino, an employee who worked for his father, who wanted to take the books containing the company's important data. A few minutes later, Detective Tatara enters, who managed to access that place after defeating the guys guarding the entrance, talking to Taizai about this peculiar scenario. On the other hand, his partner Suzue remains outside in the parking lot waiting, and it can be seen that Oraha passes behind her. Taizai begins to tell Tatara about the power he has in his hands, and that even if he tries to lock him up, they will let him go overnight because of the connections he has. There, he allows them to continue torturing the girl, demonstrating that diabolical side he has. Suddenly, a motorcycle enters that place by force, it being Arashi and Makoto. He announces that Taizai is a black classification tumor, pointing his weapon at him to finish his task, firing a bullet that hits him right in the forehead, killing him instantly. Tatara tries to stop him, although Oriha enters through the duct and fires a flash bullet at the ground to blind everyone for a few seconds, also filling the place with smoke. Arashi eliminates the other subjects, but Jin Masaki takes Mr. Fujino hostage. Despite that, he tries to shoot him, but right there Tatara throws himself to prevent him from doing so, causing the bullet to end up hitting Mr. Fujino. Jin takes advantage of that to flee, while Arashi pushes Tatara away and saves him from other enemies, leaving that place on Makoto's motorcycle. On the other hand, Oriha distracts a group of criminals with her singing as a recognized idol. This causes them to approach to finish her off, being caught by a booby trap that she placed beforehand. In the end, the entire building collapses, Tatara managing to get out safely with Miss Fujino. When he arrives with Suzue, their car suddenly explodes, this being Oriha's work, although she did it because she believed it belonged to the criminals. As they leave that place, Arashi complains that they let the secondary target escape, and that they also killed a person who shouldn't have died. After hearing him say that, Makoto remembers the conversation she had with him in the bathroom. Arashi told her about what happened 9 years ago, where terrorists bombed an international medical conference, and he was the only survivor, although she already knows that, but he clarifies that he was not the only one, but 2 survived, the other being his best friend, Ryu Machizuki, the son of the doctor and president Masamune Machizuki. He shielded Ryu from an explosion with his body and ended up in very bad condition, while Ryu had a serious head injury. Masamune gave his own son the black classification for brain death, then cut his body and performed transplant surgery to save his life. Although he wanted to save him, he received Ryu's limbs and heart, and is here thanks to Masamune's greatest triage. But sometimes he doesn't know how much of himself is really him. The other guy inside him urges him to prove it, to examine the truth within the triage that he sees with his own eyes, since he himself was born from triage. Returning to the present, it can be seen that Ryu appears from time to time before Arashi, as a conscience with whom he speaks from time to time. For a moment, they show us that Jin feels frustrated by what they did, determined to catch them all. On the other hand, another unknown organization has set their sights on Kaiji's merchandise ship, as they are very interested in what is there. The next day, Tatara complains to the hospital because once again they won't let him see the witness, unaware that several of the Black Label girls work there as a cover. While walking, he remembers what happened, thinking that maybe the hostage would have died if he hadn't interfered, but he also knows that he was going to kill the suspect anyway. As he reflects on this in his mind, he ends up complaining about that iron-headed guy. Just then Arashi and Makoto pass by him, he mentioning in a low voice that it's not iron, it's super polycarbonate. As for the surviving victim, Yuko concludes that she doesn't remember anything about the incident or Hideo's company, discharging her since she is already well. Upon leaving, she meets one of her patients, the old woman thanking her for what she has done for her. Yuko tells her that it's not a big deal, since she is not going to live much longer anyway, which leaves Miki trembling because of how cruel it was to say that to her. A short while later, they all have another meeting with Masamune, who tells them that they have to finish off Jin Masaki immediately. Then he congratulates Arashi for his good work, and that starting today he is an official member of Black Label, wanting him to form a new team with Makoto and Oriha. Just as Yuko, Miki and Seo's team is called Ampule 0, Arashi's will be Ampule 1. The next thing that happens is that an accomplice of Jin Masaki kidnaps Miss Fujino when she is walking down the street, and on top of that, he runs over the old woman from before. This information reaches Detective Tatara, while those from Black Label suffer the loss of the poor old woman since they could not save her. And it is at that moment when they receive a black classification triage. Now we see that Jin Masaki is in front of Fujino, holding her hostage on a high floor of a building, waiting for her to tell him the whole truth about her father's secrets. Seeing that she doesn't listen, he decides to inject her with a special serum to make her start talking. Meanwhile, his accomplice Yoroida is confident due to his large group of henchmen, having a wide range of weapons at his disposal. Jin Masaki has no problem with them coming, so much so that he even leaked his position so that they would fall into the trap. Black Label is already monitoring that building, and Miki reports that Detective Tatara is infiltrating there. He manages to access the room where Fujino is, but when he approaches to see how she is, he is suddenly stabbed by her, who begins to blame him for her father's death. Makoto enters seeing that they have attacked the detective, But seconds later his colleague Suzue arrives, who points her gun at her believing that she was the culprit. Suddenly she is caught by one of the criminals who were hiding, all coming out to surround both of them. Meanwhile, Yuko enters through another area to meet another group of them. When she is in the middle of everyone, her hair color begins to change, starting the operation, cutting the four around her in two with her katana in an instant movement. Seo uses her machine gun to destroy the vehicles in the parking lot, wearing her mask at all times. With their high combat skills, they sweep away the enemies, and Arashi enters the room where Makoto is with his motorcycle. The entire group of criminals empty their weapons against him, but Arashi comes out unscathed despite receiving all those bullets directly, using his two weapons to finish them off. Yoroida escapes in time to the parking lot to take his car, but when trying to escape, Seo prevents him. She uses an armored shield to nail it to the ground, acting as a battering ram and causing the car to fly off when it collides, while Yuko cuts it when it is in the air. Arashi and Makoto quickly reach the roof to meet Jin, who already imagined that someone would be trying to kill him. Suddenly, Fujino runs with a knife towards Arashi, but what he does is shoot her without hesitation. Jin asks him what he is doing. Since she is a civilian, Arashi tells him that that day he gave Hideo a weapon because he wanted to see if all humans had a conscience. Seeing that his evil caused him certain death, he wondered what he would feel when the weapon was pointed at him. He knew what he had to do, and this mission is his treatment. Being about to die, and when death approached someone important, he understood. 9 years ago, when he woke up from surgery, he understood what his will is, and it is the will to live, the determination to accept the weight of life. There he tells Ryu that he has already found the answer, and that is that he always had a conscience in the form of an unwavering determination. Suddenly, a helicopter appears behind Jin, he telling Arashi that he has people backing him up. But before taking the stairs, a missile hits the helicopter and shoots it down, it being Oraha. After that, Arashi shoots Jin, causing him to fall off the building. The next thing they do is get out of that place along with a hostage, Oraha tearing down all those buildings with her explosives, reporting the successful mission to the president. Again, they show us the hacker from before, who already has the information that everyone related to the Aranamis has died. She doesn't know who is responsible for this, but she thinks they will probably be seen soon. On a new mission, they have to eliminate a mafia leader, but there they are interrupted by an assassin who appears out of nowhere. Before they can do anything about it, this person uses incendiary bullets to distract them, disappearing right after. Later, Shinakairo Inanaki, a former member of Ampule Zero and Black Label, gives Masamune a recording, as it turns out that Jin recorded his encounter with Arashi before he died. Masamune assumes that he wants something in return for this information, giving him a good sum of money for it. Inanaki gratefully receives that and then tells him that there is a freighter in the Pacific that is on its way to Tobioka. Its cargo is a new narcotic developed in South America, giving him a memory card that contains information about some individuals who are interested in it. When too much of this narcotic is taken, it causes violent behavior and damages memory. The problem is the price of the deal. It is so extremely cheap that it is possible that it will spread in a short time. Masamune asks him what he will gain if he gives the people on the list a black classification. Inanaki asks him to be careful, since hate breeds hate and crime breeds more crime, implying that if he does that he can create bigger problems. Even so, Masamune remains firm in fulfilling his justice, not caring about the consequences. Ampule 1 has to carry out a mission with one of those subjects on the list, but after infiltrating their base and eliminating everyone along with the targets, they are surprised again by the assassin from before. Makoto chases her and avoids shooting her when she has her in her sights, but instead she tells her that she will not hesitate to do so by pointing her gun at her. Just before doing so, she is interrupted by Oraha, who begins to describe the specifications of the weapon she uses, and being surrounded, she has no choice but to escape through the window. When Masamune receives the report of this mysterious assassin, he decides to call her by the temporary name of Fever. They don't have enough information to classify her, giving the order to the others to investigate who she is. Later, Makoto attends classes, and at recess she realizes that some students are harassing a new one. That's why she decides to go over to say hello. And because she has a certain reputation, it makes the girls leave in a hurry. The new girl thanks her for her help, introducing herself as Chikage Hizaki. At night, she goes down the street with her motorcycle and almost hits someone, who happens to be Chikage. The two of them talk alone and Makoto apologizes for it. Instead, Chikage clarifies that she will not tell anyone about her motorcycle, but asks her why she uses it. In addition to hearing that she comes from an important family, Makoto tells her that she feels she must keep that motorcycle active, as her brother left it behind. He died in an accident in a race, and she also died in that accident. But thanks to a good doctor, her heart started beating again. Chikage tells her that she is very sincere and that she is a noble person, deciding to tell her her truth as well. After that, she begins to take off her clothes, which makes Makoto very nervous. But what she wants to do is show her the burns she has on her shoulder, also showing her that her body is burning. Even now she has a fever, being something that torments her, considering it a symbol of her oath. In the terrorist attack on the International Medical Conference, her parents died. They were trapped in the rubble and burned to death. She had a younger sister, and they were taken in by relatives, but that was not their home. Then she met the teacher, who taught them how to live, how to protect herself and her sister. What happened is that the place where they lived burned down, and when she returned from the teacher's house, everything was a sea of fire. She tried to save her, but she couldn't, and these burns are consequences of that day. That's when she is surprised to see that Makoto is crying for her, she recognizing that they are similar, understanding her pain and her loss, agreeing to be friends, both of them. After that, Chikage gets a little daring with her. That night, Seo happens to meet Inanaki on the street, deciding to chase him to see if he leads her to any useful information. While infiltrating an abandoned building, it can be seen that Tatara is monitoring that site by a source that gave them the clue, having his partner Makoto Ogawa by his side. Seo loses track of Inanaki, being taken to a floor of the building where she is surrounded by some criminals. What she does is pretend that she is lost by acting like an innocent girl. But before leaving, one of them hits her from behind with a steel pipe. To everyone's surprise, she gets up as if nothing happened, identifying several as arms dealers and wanted criminals. After that, she shows that she is wearing the mask, using her special gloves to destroy them with her devastating force. Perceiving that Inanaki is nearby, she grabs one of them and slams him against a wall to knock it down. Inanaki coming out of there, she ends up escaping him because the others attack her, and that noise makes Tatara and the others try to access the building, being stopped when they block the stairs. When there is only one trafficker left standing, Seo asks him if he knows about an XM25 weapon, wanting to find the buyer in order to find Fevin, since that was her weapon. He tells her that they have made that sale, but before giving her that information, he is killed by a projectile that hits him in the head, it being a mysterious person in the building next door. Seo gets angry with that dude, taking the iron arrow to throw it at him with abysmal force, so much so that it destroys the arrow that he shoots at her, sticking into the wall behind him. Even so, he ends up fleeing, she complaining about having missed that shot. Now they show us that the Kabuto criminal group is holding 2 students hostage who got carried away by the new drug, and their leader, named Omichi, suffers the loss of his brother, who was eliminated by Black Label. Although he does not know this, one of the students manages to escape and reaches his friend, but he begins to freak out on her due to the effects of that powerful drug. Luckily, she runs away right where Makoto and Chikage are passing by, they saving her from him. Although to the surprise of both of them, he gets up and ends up running away in a hurry. There they see that he drops his phone, in which is the message that if he still wants his friends alive, he must return what he stole from the Tobishio docks. Makoto tells Chikage to go home, as she will take her partner to the hospital and the phone to the police. She accepts that without problems, mentioning that anyway she just remembered that she has something to do. After separating, Makoto thinks that if there is still someone from the Makoto group left, then Fevin could reappear. Makoto sends a threat to Omichi's number, who intuits that it is his brother's killer for stating information that only she would know. On the other hand, Chikage speaks on the phone with her teacher, informing him about the remains of the Kabuto group and their location, implying that she is Fever. At the same time that this is happening, the student from before meets Detective Suzue, to whom she ends up telling about that message and the details about it. This quickly reaches Tatara, so they also go to that warehouse, complaining that this time Ogawa is not there to provide support. Makoto arrives at the place where Omichi is, but he warns her to use her weapon carefully, bringing out hostages who have gasoline bombs strapped to their bodies. And on top of that, there are more of those bombs all over over the warehouse, so it's best that she doesn't use her weapon. That's why he gives her a katana, wanting revenge to be that way. But while he is talking about his great skills with that weapon, she takes the opportunity to throw a strong sword at him, about to kill him as she doesn't want to waste time. But one of his henchmen shoots her with a taser, causing her to weaken. Omichi takes the opportunity to stick his katana into one of her legs, and then explains the game he will play next. He will give her 2 minutes to escape, but after that the hostages will chase her and do whatever it takes to kill her. As she moves slowly, Fever appears in front of her, and because of that distraction, the hostages take the opportunity to attack her. What Fever does is shoot as a warning, declaring that trash is trash, and that they use self-preservation as an excuse when they hurt others. After that, she shoots the one who is in the middle of them, causing the bombs to activate and kill everyone, thus generating a fire. Once she does that, she shows Makoto that she is Chikage, who tells her that she finally understands why she was so attracted to her, and it is because she is a murderer just like her, the teacher, and she swore that they would be ruthless assassins to erase from the earth the evil that set fire to her parents and sister. But Makoto clarifies that this is not justice, but revenge. Omichi speaks to Makoto over the loudspeaker, asking her to go to the roof to finish this matter, and upon hearing that, Chikage is determined to finish him off. On the other hand, Makoto thinks that the Kabuto group has nothing to do with the terrorist attack 9 years ago, so she doesn't understand why she is going after them, coming to believe that that teacher is manipulating her. The others from Black Label take care of the hostages and the other enemies, while Arashi arrives in time to deliver the motorcycle to Makoto. This allows her to arrive on time to the roof along with Chikage and Omichi. He laughs confidently, threatening her not to move as he has snipers at his disposal aiming at that place, so if he gives a signal there will be nothing left of her. But Makoto asks him if his snipers can keep up with her, because this accelerates from 0 to 100 in less than 3 seconds. She immediately advances towards him in the blink of an eye, throwing him into a crack in the roof to fall on the flames. After that, she tries to convince Chikage to stop what she is doing, confronting her because her teacher orders her to kill her. Makoto even uses her motorcycle as a decoy, letting her destroy it to get closer to Chikage. There she asks her if her sister would have wanted her to be like this, and that her sins may not disappear, but there is still time. Miraculously, Omichi survives that fall, getting out of there to try to give the signal to his snipers, although they have already been defeated by Black Label. Suddenly, an Ogawa appears to kill him from behind, and Makoto intuits that he is the teacher. Chikage is happy to see him, although he mentions that everything has been a farce, congratulating Chikage for her good work and then shooting her in the head with his crossbow. Ogawa begins to talk about how the two sisters were a problem, and the little one found out who he was. Chikage went crazy when she died, and he did it with her countless times, and not even that worked. Before finishing off Makoto, Arashi realizes what is happening in time, throwing his weapon at her from below with great force. She catches his gun in time, quickly shooting Ogawa before he does. Once she finishes him off, Chikage suddenly gets up and says goodbye to Makoto, wishing that they will meet again someday if they are reborn, jumping into the sea of flames. The next day, Suzue tells Tatara that they recovered the body of the one they knew as Ogawa from the scene. She thought it was weird, so she called a friend from headquarters and showed him Ogawa's file, and this is what he gave her. Tatara sees Ogawa's file, in whose photo he looks completely different. It turns out that they altered his documents. Ogawa transferred to the Tobioka Police Department 8 years ago, so they believe someone took his place during that time. Tatara tells her that he will take care of this, withdrawing without saying anything else. On the way, he wonders who the Ogawa they knew would be then, not understanding why he joined the police when it was so risky, realizing that this case is very dangerous. On the other hand, Masamune receives the report on what happened, where the police believe it was a battle between two gangs, and as for the mysterious subject, the informant they have in the police, named Hijiri, told them that he was an officer named Makoto Ogawa, but they have no more information about him. After that, the girls talk about this matter, since Chikage's list of targets matches the one Inanaki gave them. We return to this mysterious organization, who make it seem that Ogawa was working with them, although they never understood why he joined the police. On another night, the famous Neo TV program is broadcast live on television, announcing that they will have a special event in the studio's new building. Oraha prepares to participate in this event as an idol, and there she is bothered by another idol who is as famous as her, named Haran Mikazuki, who has her duo called Sumire. There we can see that there are cameras everywhere, and the head of surveillance is proud of those high-quality cameras, although he is alarmed when one of them goes out. It is precisely the one in the parking lot, to which one of the technicians goes there to repair it, being suddenly he's attacked by some guys in animal suits. In the middle of Oriha and the idol's show, the lights suddenly turn off. The broadcast is cut off from the television, which Arashi and the others see as they are watching that program. After a few seconds, the emergency lights come on, and the leader of that criminal group introduces himself to all of them. One of the employees goes to them to tell them that they cannot be here, and as a consequence of this, the leader shoots him in the leg, shooting at the ceiling to get everyone's attention, warning them that the studio is under their control, warning them not to waste their time. Coincidentally, Oriha and the other two went to the bathroom before that. But as they go along, she thinks that this blackout is very strange, asking the girls to look out the window to confirm that this building is the only one that does not have light. Perceiving some footsteps, she goes into the bathroom with them, making them keep silent at all times, being able to see out of the corner of her eye that the one who passes is a guy with a gun. Oriha intuits that he is a real criminal due to the circumstances, so she tells the two of them that it is possible that there are bad guys in the building. First, it is strange that this is the only building without power, and also they have not encountered anyone on the way, there being no personnel. On the other hand, the criminals isolate the audience in another room, leaving only the program staff with them, the leader moving on to the next phase by forcing them to resume the broadcast. Oriha and the girls arrive at her dressing room, and there they see that she has no signal on her phone. She assuming that they surely disconnected the landlines and any connection to the network, in addition to the fact that the exits must be blocked. While she is thinking about what to do, one of those guys in a suit enters that room and attacks Haran, then taking out a huge machete. While Sumire and Oriha hold him back, they ask Haran to use her karate to defeat this guy. Haran feels unable to do so, but due to the pressure and support that both give her, she lunges to kick him. Oriha realizes that she did not throw it in the right place, moving the guy so that the blow hits him directly. After that, she pushes him against the door, knocking him unconscious with one last blow she gives him with her bag. Starting with the broadcast, the leader addresses the camera to speak to those who seek justice without risking death, to those who also sent one of their colleagues to the flames. Masamune sees that broadcast and knows that he is referring to them, and that Ogawa is part of this unknown organization. The leader of the criminals introduces himself as Wild Hunt, thus killing the idol who is tied up on the floor in front of the cameras. Black Label quickly receives the black classification triage, everyone preparing to attend to this serious problem. On the other hand, Oriha is angry after what she has just done, unable to forgive them and determined to prevent any of them from escaping. Outside the building, chaos ensues after cordoning off the public area, and we can see that Tatara remains in his office because this matter is outside his jurisdiction. The chief of police arrives at the site to speak by radio with Wild Hunt, wanting to know what they want. He replies that they want to punish those who manipulate the opinion of the media, and the graves of these girls will be the cornerstone for something more sacred to be born from all this. The next thing he does is destroy the glass of the windows, causing the other idols to stand on the edge in their underwear. Wild Hunt tells the police chief that every 30 minutes, he will send one directly to the crowd. First, they must get 1 billion yen in cash, and when they have it, he will tell them what to do next, ending the broadcast there. Returning to Oriha, what she does is make a controlled fire to turn on the sprinklers and also generate a lot of smoke. This allows them to move forward without the cameras catching them. From there, she tells the girls to go downstairs, since she has some things to do, hurrying up the stairs. Meanwhile, Masamune tells the boys to wait, which Arashi accepts without problems, deciding to trust Oriha. 30 minutes pass, and now Wild Hunt decides to fulfill his task of killing one of the idols. But just before doing so, a separate broadcast starts where Oriha begins to sing. While she is doing that, they tell us that Aya Sujihara, the idol that Wild Hunt killed, was a rival and a friend, firmly believing that all lives are not worth the same. When those from Wild Hunt's group reach her, what she does is ambush them with some homemade bombs that she prepared for them. After that, she uses one of their radios to speak directly to the leader. By the way she speaks, Wild Hunt asks her why she doesn't quit acting, using the name of Black Label. He also intuits that she must be one of the 3 idols he has not seen, although despite those strong statements, Oriha continues acting without revealing anything to him. She thinks that these subjects do not seek to die, and they surely bide their time while looking for something, threatening him with bombs that can cut off his escape route, hinting that his objective is something in particular. After telling him that, Wild Hunt agrees not to kill any of the idols, but he also knows that this is a trap for her, since she has no escape. The measure the police take is to cut off the building's power, and this saves Oriha when she reaches the surveillance room. The head of the cameras stays behind while she uses the control panel to send a message to the president, but it turns out that this guy ends up attacking her. Thanks to the fact that the lights go out due to the power outage, she manages to dodge that attack, escaping through the ventilation duct. It turns out that he is the deputy commander of the Hunters, the criminals under Wild Hunt's command. He deciding to go with him because they have reached the last phase of the plan. On the other hand, Heron is convinced to return as she is not a coward, taking courage from what Oriha is doing, Sumair following her as always. Oriha is ambushed by some hunters, but they are defeated when they are attacked from behind by the 2 of them. Despite the danger of them being here, Oriha is very happy to see them again, the 3 of them ready to save everyone. Suddenly, Heron begins to say cruel things to Oriha, but when she comes out of the darkness, it is shown that she is an unknown woman who modulates her voice until she takes out the one Wild Hunt uses, implying that it is him. The president receives the message and now knows what they are looking for, starting the operation immediately. Oriha is kidnapped by Wild Hunt, and here we see her thoughts about not being afraid anymore as she is not alone, thus trusting the people around her in her team that will come soon. The hunters manage to escape through a tunnel that the deputy commander had built in advance, but halfway through their journey they are ambushed by Arashi and Makoto, who take care of most of the hunters, although Wild Hunt and the deputy commander enter through a door. Makoto asks him to go after Oriha, she deciding to stay to take care of the rest. In said room that he enters there is no light at all, and when firing once he can have in his mind that the T-line is in front of him, avoiding wasting bullets due to his lack of vision, in addition to the fact that this could alert them to his location. Wild Hunt is able to hear the echo of his heart, changing his voice to Oriha's to try to make him nervous, although in reality she is inside a suitcase that they have. Wild Hunt's real name is Siren. She causes chaos in people's hearts and drowns her prey, planning to suffocate Arashi and thus finish him off. There she signals to her deputy commander to attack him from behind, but to the surprise of both of them, Arashi points his back backwards, placing it right on his forehead, remembering the teachings of his mentor. After shooting him, he feels a change of air, shooting at a nearby Siren address, following him in a hurry, guided by the flashes of the bullets when firing. To Siren's surprise, Arashi's heart disappears completely, which forces her to shoot forward due to the pressure. Arashi skids in the sky and calculates well where to shoot by the bullets she fires, giving Siren a sure shot. That's when Oriha gets angry with him since he almost could have hit her. But Arashi clarifies that he was careful, in addition to the fact that he would never confuse the voice of a friend, the 3 of them meeting again when Makoto arrives a few seconds later. After that, the rest is resolved, Oriha arriving in time with Heron and Sumair to show them that she is alive and well, although her manager continues to suffer from her disappearance. At that moment, Oriha lets go of her pigtails, telling Aya that she has avenged her, and she would not have achieved it without the others. Here we see a conversation the 3 of them had before about who this subject will be, since Wild Hunt didn't get the money and left his friends behind, Makoto not knowing what he was thinking. Oriha tells them that she is the bait. She risked his life to distract Black Label and the police from something. Arashi, after checking Wild Hunt's body, shows them that she has a tattoo on her arm that they recognize. Suddenly, the 2 of them are attacked by surprise by Inanaki, although he was only testing them. Arashi lets Makoto know that he is a former member of Ampule Zero, and also the one who trained him. Inanaki gives them the information that a large ship must have arrived in Tobioka Bay, which carries large quantities of the new drug, platinum Lily. There is a family that has ruled Tobioka for generations. Large landowners and capitalists, even a dictator came to the position of prime minister, and that would be Jotaro Tobishiro. The worst of diseases gives life to new cancer cells. That is the second-generation member of Congress who rose to power, Kyoji Tobishiro. He assumes that they must be looking for his little drug, so he orders more security protecting his ships. Inanaki continues to tell Arashi and Mikoto that the freighter will arrive at Kyoji's private dock, and the local government will pretend they don't know anything, clarifying that it is not just the drug, because it has another more special effect, and there is another evil behind it. That would be the true enemy, Makoto Ogawa's allies who controlled Chickage and who tried to eliminate the buyers of Platinum Lily. It is likely that they will go after the drug, but the problem is that Kyoji does not know what it really is. Finally, he tells Arashi to believe in himself and move on, being his last lesson. Seo and Yuko infiltrate the cargo ship, having Mickey's support from afar. The two of them go into the middle of the containers, being separated when some explosives throw a container in the middle of them. Seo is left alone with some twins, members of that organization they are facing. The two of them also show superhuman strength like her, hurting her quite a bit because one attacks her by surprise. There they are introduced as Kaoru Murasaki and Kaori Murasaki, and what differentiates them is that Kaoru is the clumsy and aggressive one, while Kaori is the most intelligent. On the other hand, Yuko meets other members of that organization, the explosives one being called D, while the one who fights with her is Mr. Astro. Mickey attacks D by surprise with a sedative, taking one of the briefcases they are looking for, since the Lily drug is not what interests them, but before taking the other suitcase from him, D blows up some explosives that damage the ship, then fleeing by a helicopter that picks him up in a hurry. Mickey informs Yuko about the situation, since it is best to withdraw, as they have little time before the members of Tobishiro arrive. Astro tells Yuko that they are Syringe, who rule the world of chaos, finally being able to know the name of this organization with which they were indirectly fighting. Although she focuses on saving Seo, who continues to suffer serious attacks from the twins. What she does is escape to open a hole under Seo, causing her to fall into the sea to take her away by water. They quickly take her to the hospital, since her heart stopped beating and her lungs are totally damaged. While they are treating her in the Arashi feels powerless in the face of the situation, not knowing what to do. Mikoto consoles him by seeing that he is being more expressive than usual, admiring how honest he is, making it clear to him that Seo will not die. After that, they are taken to the president, who shows them what Mickey brought them from the ship. It turns out that it is something that he created, asking the two of them to be quiet and listen. He was once the doctor of a mercenary group that traveled all over the world, and at that time he found a strange town. They said that they had replaced the limbs lost during the war of many villagers with the limbs of the dead. In that town with only primitive medicine, there was advanced transplant surgery, and that was not normal. Due to immune rejection, transplants can cause death, although it is possible to do so without the proper preparations. Before a transplant was performed, there was a special ceremony that only a select few could do. First, the patient would drink a black liquid. They said the liquid was a cursed poison. If someone who was not chosen touched it, they would go mad and die within a few days. When the transplant was finished, the patient would drink a red liquid, and this completed the ceremony and treatment. He analyzed both liquids and saw that the answer was very simple. The black liquid was a virus, and the red a vaccine. He called the new virus D99, which infects the nerves of the brain. It interferes with the immune system, activates cells, and regenerates them at high speed. Except that if the brain itself is infected, it irremediably causes death. But when the vaccine is administered, the virus dies immediately and never affects the patient again. So for a surgeon, that was the power of a god. If it could be harnessed, it would allow in many complicated ways to alter the human body, not just with transplants. He used his own money to create a secret research team, where Ran led the team and Inanaki was also a team member. After many experiments, they came to a conclusion. The virus was transmitted through the human mucous membrane and contact with blood. Its power was immense, and if it spread to a large population, it would be very dangerous, being a threat to humanity. They forgot to use the virus in the world and returned to the town to warn them of the danger. But the town had burned down during a war, along with the D99 virus. They tried to destroy all the research and samples and eradicate D99 completely. But that incident occurred, the bombing of the International Medical Conference. Then he confesses to Arashi that he is the last one who received that drug, accepting punishment for doing such a thing. Although he is grateful for what he has thanks to saving his life, he has no problem with it. Continuing with the subject, Masamune does not know who brought D99 back, nor does he know why Syringe wants it. The drug is only useful when the virus and the vaccine are in their possession, so they must be desperately searching for the other suitcase. Suddenly we see that Seo wakes up, although she uses her overwhelming strength to leave that room. In a change of scene, we are in Arashi's past, who is in rehabilitation to be able to walk again. Seo was taking care of him back then, asking him to take a break, telling him that something similar to his happened to her, but she doesn't remember it, suggesting that he forget it too. But Arashi explains to her that Ryu and his father saved him. Ryu's arms, his legs and heart saved him, and his life continues within him. If he gives up, if he no longer tries to walk, Ryu will die with him. Seo accepts that determination, deciding to help him walk again, thinking that he has something that she doesn't. Back in the present, Ran asks the boys to go capture Seo, since she has lost control. They go with equipment that Oriha thinks is excessive, although it is not. When they get to her, Seo suddenly attacks them without holding back and without mercy. Before doing anything to Oriha, Yuko arrives in time to push her away with her katana. Seo protects herself from his attack with her steel gloves, and while wearing her mask, she recognizes Yuko. She mentions that she has not seen that mask for a long time. It is not the same one she normally wears. After changing her hair color, she asks Seo not to make her kill her a second time, which takes Arashi by surprise. Before she finishes off Seo, Arashi uses his shield to stop her attack, not wanting her to die and deciding to trust her still. After that, he hits Seo with the shield and runs away in a hurry while attracting her attention. He ends up taking her to the floor below, thus preventing her from escaping from headquarters. For a moment, he tries to take off her mask, as it is the origin of her loss of control. But when he fails, he ends up running away in a hurry. Masamune orders the others to stay still, deciding to entrust this task to Arashi, all because both share the same pain. This is when they tell us that 9 years ago, before they were called Black Label, someone stole some D99 that they were transporting in secret. Back then, Yuko and Miki were the ones in charge of finding the culprits. The person they are looking for is the leader of the first team of the D99 research group, Itru Togo, the genius who was Masamune's right-hand man and who was at the level of Dr. Inanaki. Miki discovers that he was already dead, having carried out research and advances on this serum. Out of nowhere, a mysterious person attacks Yuko, who intuits that she is Itaru's killer, so she tries to kill her. Miki yells at her to wait, recognizing who that person is by reading Itaru's documents. Yuko listens to her too late, sticking her katana into who turns out to be the young Seo. This is what they told the others, thus being how they met Seo. Back to Arashi, he manages to attract her to what was the room where he did rehabilitation with her. That's when Ryu explains to him that things won't get better if he gets emotional. Arashi agrees with him, but he also knows that humans sometimes have to show their clumsiness, remembering Makoto's words when she encouraged him. For this reason, he makes the decision to walk directly towards Seo, ignoring that she is firing her weapon at him. Without a bullet touching him, he tells her that on that last day of rehabilitation, they promised each other something. After managing to hug her, the next thing he does is take off her mask, causing her to lose control. With Ryu's help, he understands that she put on that mask because she was trying to hide her heart that way. Arashi takes one of the crystals from the ground for her to see her reflection, showing her that she is crying and that she is fine, so she apologizes for not keeping their promise. Back to the past, Arashi learned that she was about to take her nursing exam. Seo even confessed to him that she still has that dream, where she is covered in blood and destroyed something important to her, and although she doesn't stop crying, no one is going to save her. After that, someone stabs her and she dies. She believes that it could be part of the memories she lost, fearing whether she will continue to be herself when she finds out the truth. After listening to her, Arashi tells her that he learned how to smile again while doing rehabilitation with her, promising to get stronger and not let her cry again. Back in the present, Seo is happy for his words and for his help. When the other girls arrive with them, the first thing they find is that Seo gives Arashi a good kiss on the lips. This leaves him in shock. Instead, Mikoto faints from the surprise. Seo tells Yuko that she already remembers, and due to the medicine, she only remembers part of what happened with Itaru. But then she was alone and scared. She hid her face with a mask that she found there and lost control. And that's when she killed them all. She also remembers the face she made when she stabbed her, understanding that it hurt her to have done that to her, and that despite the fact that she has a heart of steel, she likes that part of her. The two of them ending up greeting each other friendly. Once Mikoto recovers, she complains to both of them about that kiss. This is when the syringes hacker, Kanen, is introduced to us. She tells the others about the secret public security server into which they introduced a virus during the Neo TV affair. Every so often, someone who noticed it tracks them down, but it doesn't seem like it was someone in charge. There is someone who not only records all the data that their program sends, but also tracks them by receiving it. And whoever does it is a detective from Makoto Ogawa's list, asking them to go capture him, but we can see that it is Suzue. Later, the twins Kaoru and Kaori find Suzue in the streets thanks to Kanen. Before finishing her off for getting involved in their business, they are ambushed by the Yakuza associated with Tobishiro. They sedate one of them, and thanks to that it allows them to take Suzue, managing to escape by a hair's breadth. Although they managed to put a tracker on her, which indicates that their lair is in the mountains, heading there in a hurry. Shortly after, Tatara arrives at the crime scene, complaining to Hijiri because he was responsible for Suzue. He thinks it's his fault because he didn't think they would go directly for an officer, needing Masamune to think of something immediately. Goryu receives Suzue and orders her men to prepare Platinum Lily for her, planning to torture her to tell them why she interferes in their business and what she knows. Hijiri quickly informs Ran that Suzue is apparently imprisoned in one of Tobishiro's hideouts. He put a transmitter on her clothes, but the signal stopped in the area, and it has been 8 hours since that. They also saw the girls in the red coat, referring to the twins, as it seems that they have something to do with the information that Detective Suzue and he were looking for. Goryu continues to torture Suzue, and seeing that she does not give him any information, he shows her that she will soon be like the women around her, who are victims of Platinum Lily. On the other hand, Tatara is given the report that Suzue was carrying out a procedure to hide information, and after an investigation they are aware that the kidnapper is Tobishiro. Tatara complains about this, because they use the law as a weapon, but at the same time it binds them, being limited because the Tobishiros are out of jurisdiction, although he does not want to accept that. Back to Goryu, she begins to tell Suzue the procedure that must be carried out in order to successfully receive the powerful Lily drug, and that when he finishes with her, he will end up telling her the whole truth. But as a consequence, there will be nothing left of her being. Masamune begins the rescue operation for Suzue, who is now being tortured by receiving the first dose of the drug. Goryu lets her know that Kyoji wants to play with her, giving her men the order to prepare and clean her for him. Within minutes, Black Label successfully infiltrates their base, and right after that the twins take advantage of the free pass to enter as well. The two arrive at a room where Seo receives them, who now no longer has the need to wear a mask. From there, she has a confrontation with the two of them, demonstrating a superiority in hand-to-hand combat. While beating them up, she talks about Dr. Itaru Togo, who had a daughter with an incurable disease. To save his daughter, he tried everything he could, even if it was something forbidden. His daughter was saved, but at a high price, as his daughter lost her heart and went crazy. And as a side effect, her physical ability increased uncontrollably, and the man was dismayed to see something so evil happen. Using drugs, he could suppress the natural abilities of humans, he called them high jetters, and he used them on his daughter to continue investigating. His heart died, as did his daughter's, but no one from the project should be left alive, because the daughter went crazy and killed them all. In that case, she asks them who made them, to which Kaoru replies, the princess. But before saying anything else, Kaori gives her a powerful kick to shut her up. After that, they continue with their combat, Seo without being touched by them, returning all the damage they did to her with her overwhelming force. Suddenly, Astro arrives to enter by force when getting off their helicopter, giving orders to the twins to flee. On the other hand, Arashi reaches Suzue and finishes off the men there, although suddenly the girls damaged by the Lily drug escape from their confinement. Syringe ends up escaping from that base, while they take Suzue away. Later, the girls talk about everything that happened. Suzue is in intensive care, Mickey explaining that she declared her in critical condition for now. She was kidnapped, assaulted, forced to take drugs, and now she is in a coma because of it. And as expected, Tatara visits her at all times to try to see her, although they prevent him from doing so. Suzue does not remember anything about the incident, and her last week is blurry, and according to the tests, she has not suffered brain damage. Even if her memories don't come back, she won't have problems in her daily life. But the rest is up to her. They also sense that the Tobishiro group has a medical professional, since Suzue was tortured in such a way as to maximize psychological damage. There are also the drugs used on her, most of them being difficult to administer. The next thing that happens is that Yuko spanks Seo for distracting her while she was on a mission. Seo also tells them that those twins are also the work of D99 just like her, not having expected that there would be someone who could replicate what Itaru Togo did. After that, she declares that she has a true lovey-dovey relationship that she cannot lose. Makoto realizes that she is referring to Arashi, starting to fight with her. He, on the other hand, continues with his training, talking as usual with Ryu on certain occasions, noticing that he has become mentally stronger. In a change of scene, we see Mickey surprise Inanaki from behind by pointing her gun at him. She is distracted by a smell, which he takes advantage of to turn around and grab her wrist, making her drop her weapon. Inanaki explains to her that it was just perfume, and that she is so sensitive to smells that it worked perfectly. After that, he grabs one of her breasts, asking how many years have passed, and that it seems that they don't really grow when he rubs them. After saying that, he separates and escapes in the blink of an eye, she getting angry with him since he always bothers her. Now we are with Arashi and Makoto, who go out to fulfill a triage that has been assigned to them. It is about a teenager who is fleeing in a vehicle and who has a girl as a hostage, being chased by several police patrols. Arashi quickly arrives at the chase, using a smoke screen to leave the cops behind. When the target realizes that they are being chased by them, he begins to get scared by the way they look. Makoto proposes hitting the radiator, since they need that car to stop moving with those inside unharmed. Arashi tells her no, because the smoke will block the target's vision and confuse him more, but he has an idea to carry out. That's when they change places for her to drive, and what he does is lean to one side until his helmet constantly rubs against the pavement. There he is calculating the angle with his pistol, making a precise shot. The guy presses the accelerator hard, but after a few seconds his car goes slower and slower and ends up stopping completely. Makoto understands what he did. Arashi used pellets with a differential, because if the oil leaks out, it will burn, and it will be worse when he accelerates. After questioning him, they confirm to Rand that the information is reliable, and being a red classification, they leave him handcuffed to his car for the police to take care of him. Makoto throws a saw at the subject, thus telling him that if he wants to escape, it will be faster if he cuts off his arm instead of the handcuffs. Inside, she gets very excited, because she always wanted to say that. Arashi sees that the girl he was holding hostage is in bad shape, asking Makoto to take her to the hospital quickly, agreeing to return on foot without complaint. And the anime ends with him walking the streets, talking from time to time with Ryu, who is by his side at all times. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. You can find more anime recaps like this on my channel. If you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any future uploads. See you in the next one.